Welcome to the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast with Mike Kincaid and Jake Goebel. Join them as they experience specialty coffee and document their journey. These friends explore roasts and roasting methods, brewing equipment and techniques, and review the cafes they visit along the way.
Thanks, Brioni, and thank you for joining us for episode 84 of the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast. This show is dedicated to the Aillio Bullet R1. Yep, that's right. Many of the questions that you've submitted over the past couple months, Mike has taken the opportunity to sit down, answer them, examine them. I feel comfortable giving out some helpful hints and some instruction and some sort of update and feedback regarding the Bullet. And so we decided we'd do a full episode just about roasting with the Bullet and what you can expect. And then Mike shares his opinion on whether you should get it or not. Is this the right thing for you? Is this the one for you? And some things that you should consider before you pull the trigger on it. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go ahead and jump right in. All right. Welcome to the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast. I am Jake Goebel. With me is my compadre in coffee crime, Mike Kincaid. Say something for the mic voice, Mike.
Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you joining us today. We have got a good one in store.
A killer episode in store for you today.
Yeah, we've got a special guest. No, not really.
Long time coming. We've been promising updates on the Bullet, the Aillio Bullet R1. Not the Bullet Aillio, the Aillio Bullet.
Aillio.
R1, Aillio.
As in, which aisle are we going to go down?
I think it's Aillio 1. Right. It's Aillio 1.
That's what we decided.
Yeah.
Even though I still hear it pronounced Aillio.
Aillio. Well, who knows? Who knows? We don't have that. I mean, we've never spoken with Mr. Aillio or Mr. Aillio or Captain Aillio.
Mr. Lily.
Mr. Lily. Mr. Bullet. Captain Bullet. I mean, you have the ginger bullet here with you. You can't top the copper top. But beside that, we have no idea. So we just keep calling Aillio.
From the Duracell commercial?
Yes, it is.
You stole it?
Yeah, I stole that. Why are you bringing it up? Why you put me on blast, as the kids say?
Not that you've always been so creative.
Throwing shade my way.
I've always looked at you as a creative, artistic type that wouldn't plagiarize, but...
Wow. Am I plagiarizing when I say, hue tenango?
Oh, you must be talking about what we're drinking.
I'm talking about that Guatemala from Ambition Coffee Roasters.
Mm-hmm.
How was it?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, really good. So our coffee review.
Even though you made it, it still tasted amazing.
Our coffee review, we are drinking a few coffees today. One of them is from Ambition Roasters. Big shout out to the other Mike and Jake.
Yeah, not to be confused.
Right, not to be confused with this Mike and Jake. We have green and blue lightsabers. The Mike and Jake that run Ambition Coffee have red lightsabers. They're the dark side. The dark side of the Force.
He had a red one.
Ooh, maybe I want a red lightsaber. Can we do red lightsabers? Can we be the villains instead? All right, we have the red lightsabers, and Mike and Jake from Ambition Coffee.
I think it's more appropriate as they're probably trying to do good in the coffee space.
And we're doing evil.
And we're attempting to guise it.
Fear leads to the dark side. And this is definitely scary stuff. It's really scary trying to make coffee and sell it. But anyway.
You like?
The coffee was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It got better as it cooled for me. When it was hot, I thought it was... I didn't get as many, like the flavor profile from beginning to end, which I guess makes sense. In the beginning
to finish.
From start, I wasn't getting a whole lot. I was getting a little bit of acidity, and then it was kind of like roasty, and then it kind of cooled into some flavor.
Yeah.
And as it cooled down a little bit, I was like, okay, this is really good. This is really good. It's a bourbon. I was like, this is a bourbon / Caturra.
Yeah, I can taste the Caturra.
I could taste the Caturra. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, your challenge, right, was that they have think, bright, sweet, and juicy.
The challenge. Mike and Jake said, flavor notes, think. And I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out.
You short-circuited.
But they did say bright, sweet, and juicy. So I'm not trying to be overly critical, but juicy is mouthfeel. Bright is mouthfeel, isn't it? Sweet? I need a little more. Mike, Jake, I need a little more.
Sweet.
I need a little more
juicy.
so that I can actually say what I'm tasting. I need something like stone fruit. I need you to throw the kiwi berry out there.
I think what you need right underneath that, for those that
don't think,
that are thinking impaired.
Yes.
Here's what you should get.
Yes.
I do like the approach though, because
berry.
because sometimes they'll say
totally arbitrary.
Cotton candy.
Yeah,
the blue pixie stick.
Please feel free to ignore these completely arbitrary flavor notes.
You're like, I'm not getting
cotton candy.
No.
In fact, I've chased that dragon a time or two.
The, caramel drizzled nuttiness.
I'm not getting any caramel drizzle here. Are you getting any of the purple pixie stick?
I was trying to think of something very detailed, and I didn't get very far.
This is like a chewy sweet tart, right?
A chewy
I'm totally getting a lot of chewy sweet tart out of this because it's definitely not a hard sweet tart because of the mouthfeel. I'm getting a lot of acidity, a lot of right here on the right on the side of the.
This is like a day old Baby Ruth.
Yeah. This is a Reese's peanut butter cup that's been sitting on the shelf too long. Yeah, it needs to be fresher.
It's kind of like a pineapple, but not upside down.
Right.
More like right side up.
Just a right side up pineapple
Before
cake.
you invert it.
Before you go invert it on the pineapple cake and make it an upside down pineapple cake.
Yeah.
So the Ambition coffee is good, though it lacked some of the flavor descriptors that we typically like. But I mean,
the non-thinkers require.
It's definitely bright, sweet, and juicy. I can say that.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I
enjoyed it.
But there's something else that you're drinking right now.
Is there?
You're drinking the Brandywine Natty. I can't even remember what the name of it is, isn't it?
I think it was from Colombia. I don't know.
Colombian?
I
don't know. It wasn't on the bag. It was the farmer's name, and you're covering my face again. It was the
Bitcoin. I'm just showing the Bitcoin mug.
Let me ask you this question.
It's your
Mike.
Proximity to my right hand. I'm dominant.
I'm your right-hand man.
Yeah. From time to time, your face needs to be covered.
If you have Bitcoin on your mug, why don't you allow me to pay with Bitcoin on your site?
It's a very good question. I thought we did accept Bitcoin.
No, not
all we got to
yet.
do is throw out the address.
We're working.
Throw a little address on there.
Yeah, throw a little address.
If you know enough about Bitcoin, we'll put the Bitcoin address to
we'll throw
my
the
wallet, not Jake's wallet.
Not Jake.
My wallet. He doesn't understand.
I was thinking we were going to rock a little bit of BitPay. We were going to use BitPay.
We should,
as it were.
We should use BitPay, or we can even use Coinbase now, or we can even use
Coinbase.
Yeah, they've all got solutions.
We need to. We need to do that. Yeah. So this was good Brandywine, good Ambition.
It's been a good coffee day.
But that's not what we're here about. We're here to pick the Mike Kincaid's brain about the Bullet Aillio. Take two. That's not why we're here today. We're here today to pick the Mike Kincaid's brain about the Aillio Bullet R1. I'm going to read the questions. You are going to do the answering.
Well, I have to read the notes because I might not remember the answer.
Well, I'll hand them back to you. I'll hand your phone back to you. Okay.
So let me go just a little bit, right? We've been talking about this, and the reason being, since we got the Bullet, we've had
you're
so
done.
many. I'm just getting started. I'm fired up. We had so many people reach out to us.
I can really take all this in.
Yeah. We've had many people reach out to us on Instagram and email. No. We've had a lot.
I'm teasing.
Yeah. They know that they don't include you. They say, I know Jake doesn't roast, but
Jake doesn't know what he's talking about. So let me get Mike in here. Okay, while you're talking, I'm going to start playing a video game. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Is it Mario? They came out with a new update for Mario.
For Mario Run?
Yeah. Yeah, they dropped a new update.
Wow.
Anyway, which was funny because I was in a conference call at my day job, and I swore I heard the Mario coin sound in the background. You know,
probably
when you collect the
did.
coin. And that same day is when the update came out. So I'm pretty sure somebody was using their time more wisely than we were. But anyway, wanted to go over some of the common questions we get about the Bullet, and then also kind of summarize at this point what our life has been like with the Bullet, roasting with it, the pros, the cons, and then give a nice little summary at the end about who we would recommend the Bullet for, who we'd not recommend the Bullet for, and just provide as much resource that we feel we can at this point about the Bullet, because it's a fascinating little roaster, and many people want to know more about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our attempt to kind of just put it all in one resource and break it down. So back to you, Jake. Did you want to moderate? Did you want to?
Yeah. I'll moderate here. I'll moderate.
This is good because I can tell you need another cup of coffee.
I need another cup of coffee.
We need to get you another Bitcoin mug. These were in no particular order necessarily, but I did try to put them in some order.
How much does it cost? That's what everybody wants to know.
That is what everyone wants to know.
How much does it cost?
So for us,
delivered, everything, all done.
Yeah. So for us, it was just under $2,900 US delivered.
US what? Dollars?
US dollars.
No.
Yeah.
I thought it was US smiles.
What, US pesos? What?
I don't know. Well, you tell me. US. What do you
US
mean
Bitcoin.
US dollars. $2,900 US.
US dollars. But see,
as opposed to Australian dollars, which are readily accepted here in Arizona as well.
They are. Yeah, okay. Or Canadian dollars. But see, the thing is with that, we did not have to pay. Some people have reported that once it arrived at the port, DHL went to pick it up. Before they deliver it, they demanded payment for tariff, for tax.
Really?
We didn't have to pay that. And I've seen others say that they didn't have to pay it either. And in fact, some said, don't pay it. It will still be delivered. It just might take an extra week or two. I don't know. I don't know all the details of how that works. We were never.
That's weird.
I was never hit up for an additional payment for tariff or additional taxes or for,
nothing.
Was it the bill?
Was it a different countries maybe, or this was U.S. in the United States of America?
Well, I think the ones that I read were in Canada. I think other people in the U.S. were asked to pay before it would be delivered. Yeah. We weren't.
Okay.
Just keep that in mind.
Now, here's my other question, though, but that's not the only thing that we paid for. So that was just it. What about for kind of the exhaust and that type of stuff? How much did you spend?
Yeah, so if you want to, there's many ways you can do the exhaust, but if you want to kind of install it and vent the exhaust outside or out a window, they recommend getting an adapter. And you can have, it's basically a, what is it? Fancy printer. I'm blanking. It is a schematic, I guess, to print your own piece with the new, what is it called? The thing?
3D printing?
Thank you.
It's a 3D printer schematic. Okay.
Yeah. But there's a company out there, I think it's Shapeways, that already have it. And so you can go there and just buy it. It's like $35, I want to say. So you need that. And then, of course, any additional venting, piping. So keep that in mind, too.
So $2,900 delivered, and then $100 to $200, depending on your setup, how you're going to vent it.
If you want to.
More if you're doing more, less if you're doing less.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, along that same thought, and I'm glad you brought that up, if you plan to use a computer with it, which you should, because that's pretty much how it's designed to be used, you'll need a computer to plug into it, a laptop.
If you are a Mac man, you will need a Windows computer.
Currently. They have released a teaser, finally, a screenshot.
They're working on a Mac OS.
For the Roast Time application that comes with it. That is their own proprietary software. That's free, that were included, I guess. So yes, but in the meantime, you'll need I went out and bought a little Lenovo.
Little throwaway laptop for $200.
$200. It's been great, actually. And I've actually. Actually. Yeah.
Huh.
No lie.
Actually.
It's been nice having a dedicated roaster because I do have a little MacBook Pro, but
you use that for other stuff.
I use that for other stuff.
So it's been nice having a dedicated roaster or a dedicated laptop for your roaster.
That gets dirty, chaff, dusty. You don't have to really worry about it because it's a couple $100.
Okay.
So
perfect.
Wonderful.
What about replacement parts or service center? Something breaks, I need to get it fixed.
That has been, that's a valid question, especially if you're going to rely on it to...
Thank you. It's not my question. That's why it's valid. It's from you guys.
Yeah, it's
out
from
there
you guys.
In the ether.
So, my experience with service. We have not experienced any issues.
We not? Okay, you can just say you, because I haven't done anything with it, except shown up and watched.
Okay. So, you want me to say what?
You just say I. You don't have to say we. Yeah.
Well, that feels wrong.
No. It's right. It is you. It's all you.
Yeah, but if it breaks, you got to pay for it to be fixed.
Okay, true also.
So we're in this together.
Okay, so we'll keep using we then. Okay, all right.
We have not had any issues with it. Nothing has broken. Nothing needs to be replaced.
Good. Nothing is broken.
I have not had any. We've put a considerable amount through it. I've probably done about a boat. Oh, I don't know. 25 kilos.
At least 5 pounds.
Yeah, at least 5 pounds, give or take. Give or take. Probably about 25 kilos through it. I haven't had any issues. Now, there are others that have. And one of the resources I recommend if you're remotely interested or if you own one and you're not on the Facebook group, get on the Facebook group.
Yeah, you were a cyber stalker on the Facebook group for 6 months before you bought it, weren't you?
I joined early. And I think it's because Manny was like, hey.
The Manny G.
Are you on the Facebook group? I'm like, no, what's a Facebook group?
Yeah.
He's like, you know.
What's the Facebook?
Where we all get together.
Talk about stuff.
Yeah. So there's a Facebook group, and it's become this support line for people using the Bullet.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about it, get on it now.
It's a great resource. And so there have been people that have had issues or little quirks, but from what I gather, all have been resolved through help with the group. Or the one of the Lilly brothers is actually very active in the group, Jacob, and he.
Oh, I like him already.
He'll offer advice, and he'll say, "Hey, try this, or this," and then sometimes even when it's maybe a more complex issue, he'll say, hey, "Hit us up on support. Let's get you taken care of. You know, let's
do this a little more formally."
Exactly. So there are no service centers in the U.S. You know, you can't just.
Are there service centers anywhere else?
I think it's just no.
No.
I think you would have to, if you needed a replacement part, it'd have to come from Aillio, just like the Bullet did.
Now, is it Aillio or Aillio?
Aillio. But if you need service parts,
this comes from
the
Aillio.
Past tense. The service parts, the parts are from Aillio.
Oh, okay.
The Bullet's from Aillio.
That's perfect. All right. What is the max batch size that it can roast?
So the Bullet is advertised as a 1 kilo roaster, and that's what it is. It will do 1 kilo. Now, there have been people that have done more than 1 kilo successful. They say it's got plenty of power. So you just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
Right. That's been the story of my life. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it.
Right. You've learned that.
Yes, the hard way.
Yeah. But why not? Well, it's another show. Now, with roasting, they always say, some of the experts, like Mr. Scott Rayo has talked about.
The Scott Rayo.
You have your max capacity for your roaster. It's good to be 75 to 80% from your max capacity for many reasons. Yeah. So for us,
you don't want to be max. It's like going to the gym. Don't max every day.
No.
You don't want to max every day.
You can't control the temperature, the curve as well as you would like. You're pretty much just going to have to hit it with full power because you're maxed out. So for us, a good batch size consistently has been 800 grams, and for a couple of reasons. One, because we think it's a sweet spot for the Bullet.
Yeah.
Getting kind of to, for our roast profile, the period of time that we like to hit first crack and drying, and for the most part, 800 grams gives us plenty of leeway. And depending on weight loss, in roasting, it produces just about 2 bags with a little extra, 2 12-ounce bags.
Yeah. So we can sell 2 12-ounce bags, and then we can drink the rest to make sure that it's good to go.
A little for quality control.
A little quality control.
I will do 400-gram batches if I just want to do one, because that will give you a 12-ounce bag yield, roughly.
With a little bit of quality control.
340 grams, yeah. So that's it.
I like it.
Now, the next question, which I know you're going to ask me as well.
Well, what's the smallest size it can roast?
Great question.
Thank you.
It's not mine. The smallest that they recommend is 300 grams. And that is because the bean probe, they say that is where it will kind of give you still an accurate reading. Anything less, the bean mass won't be, the probe won't be fully submersed in the mass.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to go anything less than 300 grams. Now, there are those that have done as little as 100. With good results. Mm-hmm. They say you can't rely on the bean probe because obviously it's not in the mass, but you can still roast it.
Yeah.
So you can go even less. I've done 230.
And
it worked just fine.
Bean probes and all.
It seemed like the readings were good. So for those people that are thinking, hey, can this be a good sample roaster? I think yes, for many reasons. But that is one. I think you can go, I think 300 grams is a good sample batch.
Yeah.
That's what you get sent out typically when you order a free sample from Cafe Imports or Genuine Origin. It's usually about 300 grams.
So take it, roast it, sample it.
Yes.
Any parts expected to wear quickly or need to be replaced? Kind of they're looking down the road already.
Yeah.
This is a great question because I wouldn't have asked this. I would have just bought it. I just buy it.
So yeah.
And then be like, hey, did you know about this? Go ahead.
It is a good question. From our time with it, I have not seen any parts that seem to be wearing or that I fear might break. the pulleys, the bearings, everything seems to be made with the same care and consistency that the whole machine is. So I don't foresee it. Now, it's a fairly simple machine, and the design is fairly simple as well. So servicing it and replacing those parts if need be, a fan or an impeller or...
A what?
Impeller.
What's an impeller?
I know, right?
I've heard of Vlad the Impaler.
Well,
I know what that is.
Propeller. Thank you.
Impeller.
With blades that stick out.
Yeah.
Impeller is like a fan where the blades are in.
Really? That's an impeller?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I could be mispronouncing it, but I'm pretty sure. Because impeller. Yeah.
Impeller.
Because they actually talk about servicing the impeller, which is at the back of the roaster that draws the air out and, for the exhaust.
Yeah. That's interesting. Impeller.
Yeah, I am. You looking it up? You should.
I just want to...
Keep us honest, as they say.
There's an impeller, a rotating component of a centrifugal pump which transfers energy from the motor that drives the pump to the fluid being pumped by accelerating the fluid outwards from the center of rotation.
I think it works the same for air as fluid.
A blower impeller design.
There you go.
All right. How involved is the maintenance?
So the maintenance is not very involved at all.
These impellers look cool. Sorry.
Yeah, we should put a picture of one. Throw it up on the YouTubes.
Throw it up on the YouTubes. Hey, do you know what an impeller is?
Is quite simple. After each batch, you just need to empty the chaff collector and kind of clean off the chaff filter, which is at the back. Little bucket pops off. I use a vacuum out the chaff.
Shop vac?
Yeah.
How much is your shop vac? 30, 40, 50 bucks?
Yeah, it's like $30.
Yeah. Okay.
Works great. And then I pull out the chaff filter, and I usually just vacuum it. And then every couple batches, I will clean it thoroughly with just some water, hot water. You can use a little soap, a little degreaser, just to keep the airflow going, but it doesn't take long at all.
What do you do after 10 kilos?
So then after 10 kilos, you're supposed to clean the IR sensor, which there's an infrared sensor. You have the bean probe, and then you also have an IR sensor, which reads the drum temperature. Mm-hmm. Now, our machine, which was kind of nice, right around the time that 10 kilos was passing, I also got a message on the roast time software that says, hey,
you should clean the IR window.
You should probably think about cleaning the IR window, which was nice because it was still operating as far as I could tell correctly. There were no... Because sometimes they'll say you'll start getting some odd readings if it's too dirty.
Okay.
So to do that, you take off the faceplate, which is 6 screws, I think they're just hex screws, is the proper term.
Allen wrench?
Yeah.
Use an Allen wrench? Okay.
Yeah. And you take those off, and on the back side of the plate, there is the little glass window. And
how nasty was it?
It wasn't that bad. I use Simple Green. Some people use...
Love Simple Green.
I think it's Khalifa, which is an espresso, the same thing you use to clean out espresso machines.
Oh, okay. I don't have an espresso machine.
I think it's Khalifa. I could be wrong. I could be mispronouncing it. Or you can also use the rubbing
You mispronounce
alcohol.
them?
I know. It happens all the time.
I don't believe that.
I know. Iso.
Teufel is devil. So single devil.
What's the rubbing alcohol? What's the actual
isopropyl?
Is that there? You go.
I don't know.
Something like that.
Throwing it out there.
Now you know. I know. Jake knows.
All right. And after 30 kilos?
Then after 30 kilos, they say to do kind of the same thing, but then also clean the back of the roaster a little more detailed. The impeller, they say to remove that, as well as, which is where once you remove the chaff collector, the impeller's right there, unscrew it, because it gets a little residual buildup from the oils and the chaff. It works. If you've ever had a fan at home that gets dirty from use, it gets all dusty. It gets all dusty, and then
you clean that.
You clean it. All of a sudden, wow, this thing puts out a lot more air.
It works better.
It works better. Same idea. And then you can vacuum out the gap between the external housing of the drum and the part that rotates, because chaff or sometimes beans can get in there. All fairly simple stuff. Mm-hmm. Nothing really involved. If you've ever seen a breakdown, like I think Chris Baca did a video of him cleaning out their San Franciscan, it's very detailed. And it took them a couple days because they ran into issues. So by comparison, yes, that's a much bigger roaster. This is simple. Yeah. This is very simple. So, and then also anywhere where you might see buildup from roasting. And if you have exhaust ducting, you'll have to look at that, because if that's getting restricted or you get buildup, just like you would with a dryer vent, you need to clean that out.
Will it catch on fire like a dryer vent? I guess if you leave it for long enough,
chaff is flammable. Yeah.
What's your recommended starting settings for the
So I've had people ask, hey, I just got the Bullet. How should I use it?
What should my charge temp be?
Yeah, what should I charge at? When should I adjust the power settings, the fan settings? All of that is going to really be dependent on your style of roasting.
Ooh, do you want the notes for this one? That's pretty in-depth there.
Where do I start? I recommend right within the manual for the Bullet, they have recommended charge temps, depending on what size batch you're using. Start there. No need not to go anywhere else. I mean, often we want to...
So should I start with the instruction manual?
You should.
Ha!
And that's...
Negative, bro. Negative.
That is something we should plug right now since we brought it up. Read it front to back. You can actually go read it right now. You can download it. It's on Google Docs.
Yeah. Before you decide to buy, go check it out.
I read it. I think Manny shared that with me too. Thanks, Manny. He's like, hey,
Manny G.
Here's this. Check it out. It gives you an idea of what to expect. A lot of the things I'm saying are in the manual, and they're constantly updating. It's nice because it's a Google Doc, which allows them just to make revisions and updates as needed. But you can go to their website. You click on the Bullet down at the bottom. I think there's downloads, a link to downloads, and you'll see the online manual. So they have recommended charge temps. Now, if you want something, just give me a cookie cutter profile to follow so that I can just start somewhere. I recommend the Coffee Navigated blog, and they also have a podcast. On there, she has a Bullet and has decided to kind of document her journey using a Bullet and learning how to roast. And there's actually some profiles and setting adjustments right there, especially if you're using a specific type of bean, like an Ethiopian bean that's grown at higher elevations. She recommends some pretty specific adjustments. And I use that as a launching point. That's what really helped me start to make adjustments. I also follow some principles that I learned reading the Coffee Roasters Companion by Scott Rayo, which is another resource that I highly recommend. You see that, Jake? Right
yes.
there? Yeah, right there.
Yeah. The Coffee Roasters Companion.
There's some just basic principles in there that I think are a good starting place to begin with. And then also the other, while we're talking about resources, another book that recently came out by Rob Hoos, Modulating the Flavor Profile of Coffee, One Roaster's Manifesto, is another good book. But those can kind of come later after you've just done a couple batches and started to mess with adjusting the power, adjusting the drum speed, adjusting the fan. The last resource I'll mention is there are some videos that Roaster Joe did with Mill City. He's got a YouTube series out there.
For the Bullet?
Not for the Bullet, just roasting fundamentals.
Just in general.
Yeah. And he really helped me because he's like, I'm going to teach you from the beginning how to roast. And one of the key things that he mentioned that really stuck with me is change only one variable at once.
Yeah.
Pick a charge temp, pick an amount.
Same thing with brewing, right? If you're going to just adjust one thing, whether it's temperature, whether it's grind, whether it's time, whether it's pour, whatever it is, just change one at a time and then note the difference.
Exactly. And so that's what I started to do. You can't, there's no way to avoid just doing.
Now, are there preset settings that I can just plug and play and go, kind of like the Be More? Or is this one where I actually have to tell it the temperature, I have to tell it the fan speed, I have to tell it the drum speed, I have to tell it the time, I have to do all those things?
Correct.
Okay.
There's no simple programmed settings that you can hit a button, let it do its thing. Now, it has default settings for default preheat, default fan, default drum speed. You can go with those. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are good places to start. Start with the Coffee Navigated blog. Watch Roaster Joe's Mill City collaborative videos. And some things that I think can hold constant, just throw it out there, is a drum speed of 8. If you're doing, nothing too small as far as batch size, stick with a drum speed of 8. Seems to be an agreed upon sweet spot. You can start with a little bit higher charge temp, 5, 6, 7. And then, of course, you want to back that off as you go if you want to subscribe to kind of the rail method of an ever-decreasing rate of rise. And then at the end, you want to finish with a lower temp and a little bit higher fan, starting to get a little more smoke build up in the drum. You want to get that out so that it doesn't kind of impact the flavor profile. But that's all subjective. But that's kind of the approach that I started with and went from there. And then I've experimented with many things. I've accidentally roasted an entire batch with no fan because I was an idiot and accidentally blocked the fan from spinning. And the bullet was yelling at me the whole time. But I'm like, stop yelling out. It's fine. I didn't really know what the error code meant, but I had my exhaust probe like down a little too far. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I know exactly what that's like.
And it was blocking the impeller. And the bullet
Not to be confused with the impaler.
It was impaling the impeller,
Perfect.
which kept it from spinning. So I did a whole batch without any, and it didn't turn out good at all.
That's weird.
But I thought, hey, let's taste it. So I kept it, ground it, brewed it. No good. So anyway, moving along, that's kind of the settings there. Covered some resources. Next is roast time software.
Yeah. How's the roast time app?
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Keeping us on track. The roast time app is it's a good program. It really is. It's great for, you can capture the profile. You can mark when you start to yellow. You can mark first crack begin, first crack end, second crack, and it will give you a live rate of rise. It will also give you kind of a active development percentage. So if you're using that as a metric, it will tell you once you mark first crack what your development percentage, as compared to the entire time of roast is. The nice thing about it then, when you drop the batch, you can save that profile, which means that it allows you to, look at it later, put it in overlay if you want to kind of have it in the background on the next roast, or with the software you can do what they call playback mode, which allows you to pretty much set all the changes, all the variables, everything you controlled in that profile will automatically be handled by the computer. So when you adjusted your fan speed, your power, if you adjusted your drum speed, any of those settings will automatically be controlled from the playback of that profile, which works really good. Once we kind of get like an offering dialed in, for us, the Swaro, once we got the Swaro dialed in, for the most part, I would just play back that profile. As long as my batch size, my ambient temperature, everything else was somewhat constant, I would still watch it because there are variables. As the beans age, they have less moisture content, or maybe it's a colder day out, less humidity, whatever. I would still try and, sometimes I'd have to manually make some adjustments, but for the most part, the playback
is really good.
Made it simple. Yeah. And that's what you've been doing this whole time.
That's what I've been doing.
You put some...
I tweeted a photo and I put some baller sunglasses on you.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here to help.
Yeah, I'm just here to kind of goof off.
So some of the things roast time allows you to say, hey, here's all the beans I have in my catalog, or you can save beans. It doesn't manage inventory, though. It doesn't say, we have 65 pounds.
But you have found a way to manage inventory.
The way that I manage inventory is I still use the Roast Master app on the iPad, which I originally started using when we roasted on the B-More. That program I still think is one of the best that I've interacted with. It does so many things. But what I've kind of done just for the sake of capturing more data, I don't do anything with it, but is I have a probe in the exhaust that is connected to the Roastmaster app. So I'm just capturing the exhaust temperature. But each time I do that, I'm recording a roast in that app, which automatically takes that amount from my inventory. So if I say, hey, we're doing an 800-gram batch, it minuses that from my inventory automatically and keeps us on track.
Yeah.
And then you can also record cupping scores in there. So I like the Roastmaster app. But Roast Time is a good software. Also nice about the Roast Time program that comes with the Bullet is you can see what your voltage in is. You can see what your fan speeds are. It also lets you update the firmware on the Bullet fairly simply, easily, quickly, effectively, and fastly. Yeah, you have no idea what I said.
Yeah, no, I really don't. But you know what? You're talking about roasting. It's a completely different language that I don't know the vocabulary for.
So that's the roast time. What's after roast time? We kind of jumped around a little bit.
Yeah,
but
you already did the resources. So the pros. Let's just get into the so should I buy one? That's that's really the question that everybody's looking to answer. Should I buy one?
Should I get the Bullet?
So let me tell you the reasons why you should. That's the reasons why you should.
Oh, you want to?
No. You going to. Yeah.
You said I.
I know. I'm sorry.
You should say we. I thought we agreed to we.
Oh, we sure did. Okay. Okay, Mike is going to do it because I'm not. Go ahead.
You could read this.
I could read it.
Yeah,
All right.
Break up my monotone. Tone.
The pros. Why should you go out and get you a Bullet Aillio Bullet R1 right now?
Aillio.
Right now. No, Aillio is support services.
Oh, that's
Aillio
right.
is the provider.
Let's get them mixed up.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's a great prices for a 1 kilo roaster.
These are notes. This isn't a published document.
It's a great price for a kilo roaster. I mean, it really is the best. The best price on the market for a 1 kilo roaster.
I would agree.
It's very energy efficient. You can run it in your house with no problems, no changes to electrical, no changes to
nothing.
Anything.
And they
nothing.
They claim it's the world's most energy efficient.
And it's very energy efficient. You can pretty much open a window and gas it out the window.
Right out the window.
Small footprint, easy to set up and use or move and clean and maintain. It is kind of small and simple. Yeah.
Yep.
It's really... And it's cool to look at. That's not in here.
No,
That's not
you
in
should
here.
put
It's
design.
cool to look at.
Aesthetically,
the design
it's
aesthetically
cool.
is very pleasing. It's a conversation piece.
Yeah.
People come over and be like, "Oh, can I touch the roaster?" Yes. Yes, you may. Yes, you may.
That's not why it's roasting.
There's great support from Aillio and the community of Aillio Roasters.
There is. Yeah, as
They
I
are
mentioned.
always looking to improve the machine and software and send out updates and say, "Hey, this piece is not working correctly. Here's a new one. This part is not working properly on the software. Here's an update for you."
Mm-hmm.
Roast time works well and does what it's supposed to do.
Yep. I've never had any issues with it.
It's a good roaster to learn on and start a small operation. And you can also use it to sample roast. Lastly, you can do back-to-back roasts, which if you're looking at other kind of at-home roasters, that's the one thing that they cannot do very well. It's volume. They're not designed for volume.
Yeah,
like
continuous.
the Be-More. You do one, you heat it up, you roast it, you cool it. You got to let it cool before you can start it up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Aillio's not like that. You can do back-to-back roasts. So you can have a real roasting operation going.
You sure can.
Some of the cons. The batch size. Oh, this is why you should not get the Aillio Bullet R1. The batch sizes may be too small for a growing roasting operation. If you got a lot to roast, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you, maybe now would be a good time for that story about the dude at Walmart, right?
Yeah, and it's part of the summary too that I have. Who should get it and who shouldn't get it? But it is, if you are looking to do a lot of wholesale, or your business is moving that direction, I think you'll quickly realize that 1 kilo and back-to-back might not meet your needs.
Yeah.
It's still pretty small. There was, what Jake was referring to, there was a gentleman that posted a little short story on one of the home roasting group forums on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he said he worked for a large, retail establishment.
I already said Walmart, so.
Oh. And not that it matters.
A retail establishment.
And he brought in coffee to share, like you've
With his
done in the past.
supervisors.
Yeah, say, hey, I roasted home. Try this out. They really enjoyed it. One of his supervisors said, can you make sure that we have your coffee tomorrow or an upcoming day all day? Reason being, I guess some of the executives were coming by or some of the big wigs, and they wanted to have good coffee for them. And he did. And not only that, one of the big wigs is like, hey, whose coffee is this? This is great. He said, it's mine. So, well, we want to sell it.
Yeah.
Let's put it, I think, in some of our local stores around here.
Let's do it local. Let's have a local rollout.
And he was dumbfounded. He was beside himself. He couldn't believe this is happening. And then it hit him later that day. I don't know if I can supply enough on my Gen Cafe to accommodate Walmart's order, as well as many other things about actually pushing a product to market. Right. Yeah. You mentioned it, you have your packaging, then you need a SKU and all the other complexities that come with it. But just the sheer volume of what Walmart would need, even at 1 or 2 stores.
Too much.
Could potentially be way too much.
Yeah. And it's what any kind of small entrepreneur it's their challenge, to scale. Can you scale quickly? And with the Aillio, the answer is, well, no, not really. With a small batch size, you can do maybe 2 12-ounce bags at a time. And if that's all you're selling, then great. But if you've got like 100, you need to get 100 done. You're still going to have to run 50 batches through. That's a lot. It's a lot. You need a bigger roaster. So there's also a potential for downtime if something goes wrong with this roaster. But that's kind of like with any roaster, isn't it? I mean, I almost want to put that in the pros, even though you have it in the cons, because for the price of, for $3,000, you could get one. $6,000, you could get 2, and some of these other
have a backup roaster,
single kilo roasters are like $5,000 or $5,500.
You're looking at $5,000 for
to
more
me.
Traditional.
That's almost a pro. You could buy 2.
It is one way to look at it. And now the reason I have it as a con is because if you went with an outfit like Mill City and one of your motors or something goes out, they will get you a new one very quickly.
Yeah, you can have it next
day.
They're
local, exactly.
Yeah, you can overnight it.
So that was what I was comparing it against.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you can't prepare or plan for that rainy day. By having a backup. Yeah. So, absolutely.
Another con, currently limited to use with Windows only, but a Mac support program is coming very soon. Back-to-back roasting can still have a delay if you use profile playback and have a large batch in the cooling tray.
Yeah, so this was a limitation that I just listed because I think it's strictly software. Ooh, bless you.
I was going to mute or pause her.
You didn't do nothing.
I didn't do nothing.
You just shot high projectiles all over the room.
Yep, all over you. Really is what I was looking for.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to take a break. I need to go
shower.
So I think they could fix this. What I mean is you can do back-to-back roasts, but in order to queue up the bullet for playback, for profile playback, it has to be in the off state. Well, if you put it in the off state, you turn off the cooling tray.
Well, I can't do that because I'm cooling my beans.
Exactly. Now, it's not a big delay because your beans will cool in 3 to 4 minutes, and you can automatically, what I usually do is when it's cooling, I tell the bullet, go ahead and preheat again. Get a stable temperature, which it does, and it will tell me to charge and say, hey, I'm ready. And then what I have to do is pull the beans out, recycle it, and get the profile going if I want to use the profile again. And then it takes another couple minutes for it to say, hey, I'm ready. Now, you don't have to wait for it because obviously if it was just ready, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
I like the confirmation from the bullet that says charge.
I'm ready.
Charge.
Yeah.
Charge.
Takes a couple extra minutes, but you can at least know that it's doing it correctly.
Exactly. So just a software negative that could be updated. So yeah, I think that brings us through the whole list.
Yeah. So you recommend it for beginners to professionals wanting a 1 kilo roaster that can be computer operated, or for a small shop or a roaster to use as a sample roaster.
Mm-hmm. I think it's simple enough that a beginner can use it. You don't have to use a computer. In fact, there's people on there that say, I just like using it straight from the controls on the panel, on the face of the unit. And it's detailed enough and has enough complexities and options that I think a seasoned roaster would find it just equally impressive.
You don't recommend it for established or anticipating roasters that are looking at wholesale. No. So if wholesale is in your plan, don't recommend the bullet for you. Even with back-to-back roasting, 1 kilo batch size is going to limit what you can produce. And if it's not where you want to be, I mean, maybe you could start and then with the intention of using it a sample roaster, but you got to get something bigger. So you might as well save your money and get something bigger.
Exactly. I would agree with that. I think the only benefit still is if you're not 100% committed. You're like, hey, I do want to do wholesale, but I'm not certain that I want to drop 10 grand on a 3 kilo or a 5 kilo.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's more money to get the next step up.
Yeah. A lot more
This
money.
will allow you to still fulfill orders and learn and realize, hey, okay, I'm enjoying this. Now, if I can do more with less time, even better.
But don't try and go out and get you a 100-pound contract or something.
No.
Don't bite off more than you can chew. You're gonna hate what you're doing.
You could quickly regret it and suck the joy that you thought it would be.
Yeah, especially because a lot of these places they don't pay you right away.
You gotta put it up front.
It's you provide the supplies and then it's normally 30, 60, or 90 days to get paid. So you've got to be able to work during that time frame, scale and provide and continue to grow and continue to be a company. So it's challenging.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep that in mind. Even if you get a local shop that says, hey, we want to sell, you could easily have a couple times a week 5 to 10 pound orders just from one shop. And so it's time consuming.
Yeah, it's a lot. So. And then lastly, you would not recommend it for someone who's a home roaster who wants to see if they want to get into roasting coffee. They kind of just want to dip their toes in there.
Yeah.
You would recommend the Be More over the Bullet as a better option. Why is that?
Well, we have experience with the Bullet, so I can speak for it.
Yeah.
It's a great roaster.
Yeah.
$350, whatever it might be. It's right around there. Sweet Maria's, they throw in some free green. Yeah. It's a good. You don't even have to start with that. You could get just a popcorn popper and even just start roasting on the popcorn popper and, smell the aromas, see if it's something you would like to do.
It's the difference between $400 you're having a great time or $3,000 you're having a great time.
Exactly.
So if you just are thinking you want to get your
roast on,
do the $400, get you a Be More popcorn popper for $100, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
That's $100 with greens on the popcorn
with greens,
popper.
And you can even do the extended can setup they got going. There's all these hacks.
Shout out to my man Chris.
All these hacks going on. Or you can be like Ghostly and just build your own.
Right.
Just build your own.
Yeah.
What, a pizza pan?
Yeah.
Heat gun?
Hot plate?
Drill?
Do it.
There you go.
So we really love the Bullet, though. We think it's an awesome machine. The community has been great. The Bullet has been great. And you've polled that community, and the vast majority of them think it's great as well.
You're correct, Jake. Absolutely correct.
I'm so good at this, not knowing what I'm talking about.
It doesn't. You sound great. I wouldn't have known.
It never stops me. Being a complete ignoramus never stops me from speaking.
Talk fast, use big words.
Even when it should. Even when it should.
Yeah. So the last thing I put out there on the Facebook group is because the communities, it's kind of become like, a help group. That if you visit it, you might get the wrong perception. Think all these people just have problems with their Bullet. Not so. It's just that when you have a problem, you need somewhere to go. So you go to the group and say, hey, have you guys experienced this? All the people that are running along fine usually don't take the time to say, I'm doing great. Everything's going good. How are you doing today? So I put a poll out there and said, how many of you owners would recommend the Bullet? And, I put some conditions in it. But, excuse me, overwhelming majority said absolutely no question, followed by yes with a few qualifications. Just probably letting you know, hey, like we did, this is what you're getting into. Know, here's some of the things here are some of the limitations, rather. And then a few people said maybe, depending on technical ability of the buyer.
Yeah.
But none in the group said no. Too many issues was kind of like my absolutely not.
Right. It's too complex, whether it's the learning curve or whether it's the setup or whether it's whatever it is, it's just too much. It's too overwhelming for somebody to start.
Exactly. So I thought that was good results and good feedback from the owners themselves.
Yeah.
So I hope that kind of, that's all I've got.
That's it.
There might be more questions, I'm sure, and don't hesitate to send them to Jake.
Yeah, send them to me, Jacob at orangecactuscoffee.com, and I will forward them to Mike.
He'll do his best
just
to answer
like
them.
I forward questions to Scott. That's the only thing I'm good for. I can't answer any questions for you, but I can forward them to the people who have answers.
That's all right. There's some greats in American history that have had similar answers, right? I think one started a car company.
Yeah. Henry Ford? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. I don't know, but I pay people who do or whatever. I find the best person and put them in charge of it.
Yeah. I've got a dash full of buttons here. What do you want to know?
That's it.
Boop.
That's it.
Surrey? What's the answer
Is it Surrey or Siri?
I say Surrey.
Surrey?
Yeah, because like Sir with an I.
Are you happy with the OS 11 upgrade?
OS 11.01 seems to be treating me well.
Nice.
How about you?
Yeah, the Siri's voice changed. Siri's voice is different.
It's supposed to be. Well, mine is always, I've changed mine anyway.
Oh.
Mine is the English version.
Oh.
You can also do Australian.
You
can make it a dude,
Siri.
too.
A dude?
Yeah.
A bloke?
A bloke. Did you know that?
No.
You should.
I should play around with that.
You can make it an English bloke.
An English bloke. Hey.
Yeah, mine's British.
Can I do Scottish?
You can do American, Australian, British, male, and female.
Oh, okay. I want to do Scottish. Have you seen that? 11. Anyways.
No Scottish today. So hopefully that was helpful. And let's just close it before something happens and we lose all credibility. We screwed up.
I just can't keep waiting for your catchphrase is not very good. And then you forget it, and it takes you like 2 minutes to say it.
I'm sorry. Genuine apology to all those that are still listening. I will have a better catchphrase next time. I promise. That's it. End it, please. Stop staring at me. End it. Let's get this going. I've given you all I got. That was like 2 pages of notes. I'm tapped. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening. You can check the show notes at orangecactuscoffee.com/episode 84. That's episode 84. Put some links to Ambition Coffee, Brandywine Coffee, and Aillio in there. Have a wonderful day. Catch you next time.